Waterworld was just another in the series of films where Dennis Hopper played a whack job. That's why I collected Hopper, and Dern, and Oates, and Nicholson, and Harry Dean Stanton, and the like. You know, their B-grade movies, and lower TV appearances, mostly westerns, things like that. But Hopper was great. Hopper was great whether he was playing a crazy guy or a pathetic guy. So this report from the July 31st, 1995 broadcast of the Today Show, their man in Hollywood, and them being the Today Show, it's Jim Brown. Not that Jim Brown, Clevelanders. Don't get excited. He was special, but I don't think he could interview anyone. Touchdowns? The girls? But I digress. So Jim Brown, the Hollywood reporter for the Today Show, interviews Hopper about Westworld. That movie got panned mostly just because of bad publicity while it was being produced, and it was the most expensive film ever made up to that point. It's been usurped since, but it was notorious before anyone saw it. Not good sometimes. But notorious has been good for Dennis Hopper.
Waterworld went looking for an actor to play their larger-than-life villain. They turned to a familiar Hollywood face who has made an art of portraying twisted villains. Our man in Hollywood, Jim Brown, reports on Dennis Hopper's latest evil incarnation.
And action!
Dennis Hopper's latest psychopathic villainy is a character known as the Deacon in the much-talked-about Waterworld starring Kevin Costner.
Just stand there, kill something!
It's a thriller set in the future when the polar ice caps have melted and water covers the world. One has to have been isolated on a real-life Pacific atoll not to have heard all the stories about this movie and its $170 million cost. According to reports, Costner not only battled the studio over the inflating budget, but his friend and the film's director, Kevin Reynolds. Well, Dennis Hopper may be the bad guy in the movie, but he takes the high road in these reported disputes. One might say, a view from far above the troubled atoll.
I never saw Kevin Costner and Kevin Reynolds fighting. I had a good relationship with both of them. All I knew, there was a lot of pressure coming from the studio, and I knew that it had been budgeted at $100 million and that we were over budget. But that's all the papers seem to be dwelling on, nothing else. When I find it disgusting when it gets into Kevin Costner's private life, that he's having a divorce, that this may be happening, he may be having an affair. All these things are bogus things. I mean, the divorce was real, but I mean, I never saw him with anybody but the work in Hawaii. But for myself personally, I had a great living experience. This is the biggest picture that I've ever been in. It's just a big, huge canvas. And the Deacon's overdrawn and overblown to begin with. He's a bigger-than-life character.
Dry land is not just our destination, but it is our destiny!
You've made a career of doing these rather interesting psychopaths, bad guys. Where do you put the Deacon in this collection of motley characters?
Boy, he's right up there at the top, isn't he? I guess, you know, Frank Booth in Blue Velvet.
Be polite!
And Speed, the Mad Bomber in Speed.
Ah! My money!
Well, it's true, nobody chews the scenery or shoots it up any better than Dennis Hopper. But not all of his films in the last decade, since sobriety took him from drug addiction and alcoholism, have been explosively over the top. In 1986, Hopper received an Oscar nomination in Hoosiers for his performance as an alcoholic basketball expert believed in only by Coach Gene Hackman.
I'm so sorry. Basketball meant so much. Coach, I'm so proud of you. I'm so sorry.
And ironically, in 1993's very violent True Romance, Hopper, as Christian Slater's father, was the only normal person in the movie.
I hope everything works out with you and Alabama. I like her. And I think you make a real cute couple.
And here's something for you trivia buffs. Most biographies of Dennis Hopper list 1955's Rebel Without a Cause as his first movie. Starring James Dean, Natalie Wood, and Sal Mineo, Hopper's part was small, usually seen as he is here, watching from the background. 1955 was the right year, but Rebel was not Hopper's first feature.
My first film was a four-line part in a thing called I Died 1,000 Times with Shelley Winters and Jack Palance. Shelley Winters comes in and starts dancing with me to make Jack Palance jealous.
You're surprised, baby? I'm good. Oh, is this chick something wowie?
Rowan!
Holy mac. Temper.
Vincent Price once told you that you would make a great
Villain, he said.
a villain.
Yeah.
But you disagreed with him.
Oh, well, yeah, I said, I thought Vincent just doesn't, because he's playing villains, he wants me to play villains. I'm like, but I don't know how he knew that. I wasn't playing villains then. And he just looked at me one day and said, you're going to go along like this for a while, but you're going to be a great villain one day.
And from Waterworld, meet the Deacon. For today, Jim Brown, NBC News, Hollywood.
We're coming up on 8:22 on this Monday morning. Still much more ahead right after this.
Thanks for watching Cleveland Live Music. It's awfully bright out here. I'd click on another one of my videos. Quit looking into the sun. Your mother told you not to do that. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel more, there's GoFundMe and Patreon information in the video descriptions. Ooh!